Hi guys, and welcome back to another Final Fantasy VII Remake video. This is the second video in the series I'm doing of future Final Fantasy VII Remake expectations. The first one, if you watched it, was about the Gold Saucer, regarding minigames and how they can expand on that. And today's video is going to be based on the main villain in the Final Fantasy VII franchise, Sephiroth. Now, I've been planning this video for months, and I originally came up with this idea 3 years ago when I'd done a podcast, just like obviously the Gold Saucer video that you've seen. And I'd done a podcast and we were just talking, and I kind of just came up with this on the fly when we were talking obviously about other things. You know, in the original and obviously even in the remake, we followed Cloud's footsteps. And I just think it'd be really interesting if we got to see little snippets from Sephiroth's point of view. So if you do like today's video, please hit that like button, as it really does help out the channel. And if you are interested in more Final Fantasy VII content, hit that subscribe button. I am on social media, Twitter and Instagram, best ways to contact me. I am also on Twitch as well if you are interested in live streaming, so you will catch me over there regularly streaming plenty of games, including Final Fantasy games. And also I have set up a Patreon, so if you are interested in checking out that content and the benefits, please do consider becoming a member. Anyway, with that being said and getting all that out the way, let's mosey. So in the original and the remake, the game's focused on Cloud, Barret, Tifa, Aerith, and obviously at the moment, Naki. And you know, with Cloud being the main protagonist, it obviously makes sense to follow in his footsteps, as that's obviously the most storytelling point of view. But what I've noticed with the remake is we may be starting to see obviously other people's points of views, and we've seen that in intermission with Yuffie. You know, we followed her in her footsteps. We were engrossed in obviously Yuffie and Sonon, and obviously the backstory of how Yuffie got there, etc, etc. And I think that might be a way that Square Enix is trying to implement obviously storytelling from other characters' points of views. And there's no other character that I want to learn more about, obviously, than, or well, I say more of, I obviously want to learn more backstory, more lore on every character in the Final Fantasy VII universe. But the main one for me, I'm sure it is for many, is Sephiroth. You know, I want to see things from Sephiroth's point of view, as he obviously became a young cadet in the first place, showing his earliest memories, and basically just experiencing Final Fantasy VII from the other side, and basically be in Sephiroth's shoes as he travels through Gaia and slowly loses his mind. So yeah, I'd like to understand how he became a young cadet, how he first joined Shinra, his involvement in the Wu-Tai War. Obviously, if you go looking online, you can see they had an involvement there. And, you know, they're the early things that really in Final Fantasy VII they don't cover. But from the actual story that we do love and know, I'd like to see, obviously, things like when he went to Nibelheim with Cloud, and obviously the whole losing his mind, you know, in the mansion, reading all them books. I'd like to obviously experience it from his point of view and slowly see him losing his insanity. I just think that'd be a great aspect to see. And although we'll get into some more key points in the Final Fantasy VII story arc, I don't just want to see those little snippets. I'd like it to run similar to the way Final Fantasy VIII ran with the Laguna story arc. You know, 1 minute you're squalling the team, the next minute you're obviously just jumps and you're obviously Laguna, and it coincides with the main story. So it'd be great, for instance, because we know from the original, as Cloud and the team moved to Calm, moved to the Chocobo Ranch, well, through obviously the Midgard, past the Midgard Zolom and into Junon and the Costa del Sol, you always hear people saying, oh man, and the Black Capes just passed through here. So it'd be great to follow his trail of destruction, if you want to put it that way, as it coincides with the main story. So back to the key story moments. So obviously we've got things like the Temple of the Ancients, when he takes the black materia of Cloud, and obviously is in his head, makes him give him the black materia. It'd be great to see his build up, the way he planned that to happen, you know, from his perspective. I think that'd be pretty cool to put in. And of course, you know, the main storyline when he obviously gets to the Forgotten City and the whole Aerith scene. Imagine seeing something like that from his perspective. Imagine even controlling him as he does it. Something absolutely crazy to think. but how good would it be to see that, seeing Aerith's final moments from the eyes of Sephiroth? And you know, a little bit of an idea of how this will go down. If you've ever seen the TV program Dexter, you'll know that he's a serial killer, and you're seeing it from his perspective. You'll also see him in a bit of a sympathetic light, so to speak. You're understanding what he's going through, you see him fighting his demons, and you know, you understand everything that he's going through, and it brings you closer to him as a character. So seeing Sephiroth in that light, as you can imagine, would be really interesting. I'm sure everybody agrees with me when I say that. And you know, as the game moves on and you get to the Northern Cave, seeing that from him again, I know I've already said it, but just seeing all that from a different angle, different perspective. And then, you know, those final moments in situations with Aerith when he fights Cloud, and just seeing him going through the motions of obviously thinking, you know, he's the planet, the savior of the planet, he's going to resurrect, etc. Seeing his bond with Genova, you know, that's another thing as well. He's lost his insanity to the point where he's talking to a organism and he's trying to reunite with Genova. So seeing that pan out would be unbelievable for Square Enix to implement. And you know, we have seen that with Intermission, as I said before, so we are seeing Square Enix work on implementing things like that. And I think it's got to run alongside the main story. I don't think it could be implemented as DLC, because I think it's got to coincide, as I say, like the Laguna storyline of Final Fantasy VIII, for it to be effective, you know. So anyway, there are obviously a lot of points that I've made there, a lot of key areas in the storyline that would be great to see from Sephiroth's point of view. If you do think that is an interesting topic, and there are maybe particular story points that you would be interested in seeing in Sephiroth's shoes, leave them down in the comments. I really want to have a discussion over this. And yeah, I've got more videos planned like this on expectations, as I said earlier, so please do consider subscribing to the channel. Hit that like button so this video gets out there. And until next time, take care.